I'm Logan Crawford, and right now on Spotlight, we dive into a captivating romance that crosses the boundaries of fame and ordinary life with Marcy Gaston's debut novel, Shining Star. The story follows Elena, who unexpectedly forms a friendship with a mega movie star, Ben Jones, navigating the complexities of love, fame, and personal growth. As their bond deepens, Elena finds herself thrust into the spotlight, dealing with the challenges of dating a celebrity, all the while facing the ups and downs of life in the public eye. We're delighted to have this very talented author join us here today on Spotlight. We thank the team at Atticus Publishing for helping us put her in the spotlight today. And we ask viewers like you to support authors like her by subscribing to our channel and by purchasing her beautiful book. The links are below this interview. Marcy, great to see you here this morning on Spotlight.
Thank you for having me. I'm happy to talk about my book.
This book sounds like it's a summer blockbuster waiting to be made. So before we talk about the book, I've got to ask you, because the setup seems so Hollywood, have you thought about this as a film?
Uh, yeah, I have thought about it. I don't know who would play the characters. Is Brad Pitt available to play Ben?
Yeah, you need a big movie star like Brad Pitt or,
Yeah,
you know, um,
Clooney or
yeah, somebody like that. So a huge star. And then I think an unknown as Elaine,
yeah, yeah.
you know.
But but I think like honestly, if you cast it, it could be anybody that would kind of have that persona on screen.
Exactly, that gravitas.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's who Ben would be like someone who kind of commands the screen. So,
Yep.
and Elena would be like, I don't know, British actor, I guess.
Exactly. An ordinary person
Yeah, but it'd
would
be
be
fun to
great.
see it. It would be fun to see it come to life on
It'd
screen.
be wonderful. So Hollywood, if you're listening, this would be a great film. It's ready to be turned into a screenplay for sure. What gave you the idea to come up with the story of Shining Star?
I would say that it came from a movie. It came from Notting Hill,
Mhm.
which was in the late 90s, and it was Julia Roberts and Hugh Grant were in it, and it was the roles were reversed, like Julia's the movie star and Hugh Grant's the regular person. And I started thinking like, what would it be like to be put into that, like as a regular person to like all of a sudden now you're like friends with somebody who's on the cover of magazines everywhere. And so I wanted to write it from a perspective of the regular person, like all their insecurities of like, like holy cow. The story just kind of bounced around in my head before I started writing it down. It's like, oh, okay, I can see this happening.
Well, it's a great premise. It's very real, which is great as well. Um, what happens to Elena's life? How does it change when she is thrust into this world of fame?
Well, there's so much that happens. So she is first, it starts off like she feels like out of place. So she has to have a style makeover. So like before then she wasn't caring what she was wearing. She's like, I go shop at Target. Uh like so she was not putting any thought into how she looked. And now like if she's gonna be standing next to a celebrity or this mega movie star, like she's gotta look, she has to, pick up her game. And so that was like her first challenge was really realizing, oh, I actually have to like dress better. And then she's got to deal with having like weird questions and like these magazine articles about her. Like, now she's the spotlight and she was not prepared for that. And so there's like several things like she never saw herself. She just thought, oh, I'll just date Ben. And then like now she's the figure that people are very interested in. So that threw her for a loop.
There's a lot to it. It's very complex. A celebrity is like a corporation. They're not really like a person anymore. It's all marketing and PR people and handling and press availability and so forth. So it is an intriguing life that you explore from the eyes of an ordinary person. Now, I understand you work as a professor.
Yes.
Did that influence your writing, your characters, the themes of the book at all?
Not in this book. I would say that definitely in future novels that I am working on, that my work as a professor is fluencing those. I think this one it was more like a fantasy to me, and so it was a break from my own reality. And so that was kind of nice. But yeah, no, this one doesn't really, other than her education, because she is highly educated and she has a master's degree, and so maybe there's some aspects of her education that I completely identify with, like juggling little kids and going to grad school and trying to have this career. So yeah, so there's a few little things, but other than that, like it's not a direct, it's more like, oh, me kind of thinking like what it would be like to be in her position.
Very cool, very cool. Now, Ben's exes create a
Yeah.
little havoc in the relationship as they would in real life. You know, he has high profile exes and so forth. And tell us a little bit about that part of the story.
Yeah, so when Elena first meets Ben, he's dating somebody who turns into his wife later on. And that's his first wife. And she is a celebrity and she's as gorgeous as he is. And they have a child, and then they end up having a high profile divorce. And so he's navigating that in the story. And then he ends up dating somebody else, and they end up having twins. And she's also a high profile celebrity with her own career. And so Elena feels, well, she's intimidated by these celebrity women. Their looks, they're just in a totally different ball game as she is, and so she is completely intimidated by them. And so that was a big. I wanted to make sure that, like, when if you're ever put into this position, which hardly anybody would be, you'd have to deal with that aspect.
This is your first novel. I presume as a professor, you've written a lot of scholarly articles and so forth. So it probably was nice to write a work and a text that didn't have any citations in it, and didn't have to stand to the MLA standards and formats.
Uh-huh.
Tell us a little bit about what it was like transitioning for you.
Oh, it was really lovely to go into fiction because like you said, I write peer-reviewed articles and I wrote a whole dissertation. And so my academic writing is vastly different from this. And I love writing, like I'll write pretty much anything, but like this it was nice to escape and so, my job comes first, and so that academic grinding does come first, but like it was nice to come home after a long day and just kind of escape into a novel, and into like this dialogue in this story.
Plans for future novels?
Yeah, I have a plan for Love on the Camino de Santiago, which is a pilgrimage in northern Spain. And that one is actually nearly done. And so that one was also a fun one because it takes, the female character, she's a professor. And so it's a little bit of my own life from that one. And then the other novel that I'm working on is follows a chef in Seattle who's navigating being a single mom and finding love and kind of the whole gamut. So.
What's your takeaway for readers from this book? Or what do you hope they take away from it?
Well, I hope they kind of lose themselves in the story a little bit and kind of imagine themselves in it. And so I made a purposely did not describe Ben. So I did not really describe his looks other than his height. And I did that on purpose because everybody has their own celebrity crush. And so when I thought like readers, if I had described him like tall, dark, and handsome, now they're going to be like, oh, that's Henry Cavill. Like, no, that's not who I was thinking. But so I want people to kind of envision Ben as their own celebrity crush and kind of put themselves into the story. So
Well, I
that
think
was,
you succeeded there. I think it's kind of a great fantasy of every person at one point in their life, whether they're young or old. that they would be with that movie star that they see on films or on TV or on the soap opera. I mean, and everybody at one point in their life has a celebrity crush, don't you think?
Oh yeah, for
Yeah.
sure. Like I definitely have mine.
Yeah.
So everybody does. And so it was intentional on my part not to describe him. Um,
Not to age myself, but all my celebrity crushes were Charlie's Angels.
oh,
So,
from the 70s.
yeah. So that was my last. Jacqueline Smith was my last celebrity crush. So she's held up pretty well. She's like
Yes.
75 years old. She looks great. So I think it's
Yes.
all the Kmart clothes she wears. She looks wonderful. Not that I follow her, not that I stalk her or anything. Yeah. Wonderful. Well, this is a great book. It's really a fun read. You'll escape with it just like Marcy did when she was writing it, because it is the kind of fantasy that we all have at one point in our lives. It is called Shining Star. It's a story of Elena who becomes friends with a mega movie star. And all the while, that friendship grows from a slow burn to a real attraction to love. And there's a lot that comes with it, as you can imagine. Marcy, thank you so much for joining us here today on Spotlight.
Thank you for having me.
Pleasure's all mine. Thanks for your time and your insight. The folks at home, I'm Logan Crawford, thanking you for your time this time until next time on Spotlight.